How's it going, everybody? Indimi Yu-Gi-Oh here, and this is Meta Busters. This is going to be a new series we're starting here where we're going to go over some lists that are on the budget end of things that are kind of built to go against the current meta. I played heroes before. I don't think they're the greatest in the current format, so I'm kind of taking a step back from them. However, I am workshopping that list, so I'll be ready to show that to you guys in a minute. But for now, I will be presenting to you Traptrix. Traptrix is a series of insect and plant monsters that are built around setting trap cards to control the game from your opponent. And the driver of those, the first one, is Myrmelio. This has always been the most important card in the deck, and so we will be playing it at 3. When it's normal summoned, it lets you search a hole, and when it's special summoned, it lets you target a spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. This card is the driver of the deck. This is full combo, this plus a hole. So you want to run this at 3 for sure. Next, we'll be running Triple Pudica. This is a new card that came into the structure deck, the Traptrix structure deck, that kind of gives the deck a little bit of a searchable removal. When it's special summoned, it'll let you banish a card your opponent controls, a monster your opponent controls, and they can special summon it back during the standby phase or any of their other banished monsters. But when it's normal summoned, it'll allow you to search the new field spell, Traptrix Garden, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So this card is also a 3 of, I believe, because when this card is normal summoned, it'll let you search the garden. The garden will give you an additional normal summon, and so this plus any name is full combo as well. We'll then be playing 3 Arachnocampa. This is the last 3 of for the Traptrix names. I think this is the only other card that I really want to see in my hand 100% of the time. This monster allows you to special summon it when you control a Traptrix, and it's a great extender. Also, it's a quick effect, so you can special it from your hand during your opponent's turn. And when it's special summoned, and while it's on the field, any of your set, I believe it's set, yeah, any of your set spells and traps would not be, the first time they would be destroyed, they aren't destroyed. So it's nice protection for your spell traps in a meta where there's a lot of spell trap decks, so the things are getting removed. We'll then be running Double Mantis. A lot of decks are running this at a 3 of right now. I kind of disagree. I'm not a huge fan of Mantis. I think that I'd rather run the Kampa at a 3 of. But what Mantis does, it lets you search a Traptrix monster, so you can normal summon it, search Kampa, link it off into Sarah, special the Kampa, and you've got a bit of a combo there. It's pretty nice, but it is just a little bit of a roundabout way, and with that line, you are locked into insects and plants from the extra deck. Finally, for the Traptrix names, just 2 of Dionea. This is the best card in the deck, in my opinion, being able to reset your hole traps so that whenever you're using them for your Holotea, you're kind of getting no cost, which I'll go over in a little bit. Also, when this card is normal summoned, you can special a Traptrix back. So 1 in hand, 1 in deck is really nice. For the non-engine monsters, we'll be doing Triple Ash Blossom. Obviously, best hand trap in the game right now. Beats Branded, beats Theosis. It's pretty decent. And then Triple Parallel Exceed. This card, or this deck in general, really wants to go into a lot of generic rank 4s, and Parallel Exceed enables us to do that really well. This card is a little bit bricky, and so a lot of lists aren't running it right now. I think it's worth the risk reward as a hero player. So that is the monster cards for the deck. Hopping into the spells, there's only 3. The Traptrix Garden, which I talked about before. During your main phase, you can normal summon a Traptrix in addition to your normal summoner set. That's crazy. Getting an additional normal summon in this deck is a huge bonus. Also, the first time an insect or a plant monster you control be destroyed, it's not, and you can banish a monster you control to special a Traptrix from your hand or graveyard. So, this card is pretty much just a generic everything card in this deck. It is super powerful and covers all your bases. Other than that, we're just running 2 Pot of Desires. This card is an interesting tech that I kind of came up with in this deck. I think that because you're running, I'll showcase this in a second, or right now actually, because you're running so many, like this is kind of a brick. This is kind of a brick whenever you don't open it. You're running double Dionea, you only need 1. You're running double Mantis, you only need 1 to open. Triple Kampa, you only need 1. You're running so many names, redundancy for consistency, that after your combo, you can end on a Desires to kind of play a little mini game and say, okay, I'm going to get rid of all 10 cards out of my deck. Let's see if I can draw stuff to finish with. You can draw a couple holes to add to your board. You can draw a Kampa for protection. You can draw hand traps. It's very powerful. So this card's really good. So this deck does run a lot of one-of holes normally to send off Rafflesia to activate on your opponent's turn. And Pot of Desires is very bad for that. And so I'll show what we're fixing that with in a moment. But first, we're running Triple Holotea for the traps. Triple Holotea is really important. This card in your opener means that you can end your board on Sarah plus a 4 plus any hole you want. This card plus Mermelia. This card plus any other name is still full combo. So this card is really nice. It says you can activate it the turn it's set by pitching a hole trap, or sorry, not a hole trap, any normal trap from your hand to the graveyard. If you do, you'll special summon it in defense position, and you can use it to link off for Sarah, or you can use it as the trap to trigger your Sarah to special summon a Traptrix monster from the deck. Also, you can banish this card out of your graveyard to special summon any Traptrix monster from your graveyard, which is super nice, being able to banish this card, special a Pudica on your opponent's turn, and interrupt their plays. You can also do it with a Mermelio, getting rid of something like a Runic Fountain. For the Trap Hole cards, we're running 2 Gravediggers, 2 Trap Hole Nightmares, and 2 Floodgates. These are the most important trap holes in my opinion, and so I run them at 2 because I'm running Desires. In most lists, these will be at 1. Maybe this one and this one will be at 2. This one usually is at 1. I also think even if you aren't running Desires, this card should be at 2, because if you open it in your hand, you're no longer Nibiru proof. So it's really nice to have this card in your deck at all times. So I like this one at 2 specifically. And the other 2 are just so good. They're great to run at 2. You open one in the hand and you have one in the deck for Rafflesia. It's very nice. For the one-of traps, we're running 1 Time Space, 1 Network, 1 Bottomless, and 1 Terrifying. Because we're running Desires, we want to run a high hole count, so even if we banish a lot of our holes, we can use Rafflesia to interrupt with the other ones, and I think these are the best 4. Bottomless just straight up beats Albaz. Normal summon Albaz is really bad for this deck because they can out our Sarah, they can out Rafflesia, so Bottomless is very good against that. Network is really good against things like Fusion Deployment, make Cartesia, Gigantic Sprite, special from deck, Kashtira Theosis, special from deck. All of those, Network Trap Hole is really good against. For Time Space Trap Hole, it's really good against Sprite, being able to bounce the cards they special summon from their hand, their extenders, so Blue, Jet, things like that, being able to bounce those back to the hand, or being able to bounce back the red before they're able to negate your Rafflesia with, that's really good. So Time Space is a really good resource for that. And then Terrifying, I would honestly want to run this at a 2, but it's just a little too situational, so for that reason it's at a 1. And for the rest of the traps in the deck, it's just staples. We're doing Triple Evenly. It is the best breaker in the game, and it comes in the structure deck, so it is kind of helpful for the budget version of this deck. And we aren't running Nibiru in the main deck, so this is really important. And then Double Imperm. If I did have the third one, so the reason I'm running double is because I don't have the third one, but if I did have the third one, it would probably be in the side deck, just because I don't really think this card is crazy in the current format. I think it's good, don't get me wrong, I think it's great, but having the third one in the main deck is a little bit bricky for me, so I think having it in the side would be where it would be. Hopping into the extra deck, we're going to be running Triple Sarah. This is the driver of the entire engine. It says 1 non-link Traptrix monster as the material, so it's a link 1. You can use each effect once per turn and not during damage step. If a normal trap is activated on either side of the board and not just a hole, if a normal trap is activated, you can special a Traptrix from your deck with a different name than the ones on your board. And if another Traptrix monster's effect is activated, you can set a hole from your deck. So this is what your entire combo is based around. This is how you do all your control. This card is really important in the deck. Then we're doing a Kularia. This card is a maybe. You don't necessarily have to run this card. I think it's a nice extender. It doesn't come up too often, but it can be kind of helpful if you have a couple extra Traptrix on the board and you've already used up both your Rafflesias. Being able to just end on this and get that special summon is kind of nice. So I like this one a little bit. I would say it's on the bubble though. For Link 3s, we're doing an Oedipus. This card is crazy. It is your going for game card. It can do a bunch of damage. It can negate and destroy. and it's really helpful for link climbing into access code. This card can negate and destroy, and then you link it away for access code using, so the link climb for access code is you go Sarah into the final link Pit Knight Early, which is a fire, into Adipus, negate, destroy, and then access code. And so that'll end you on, their entire board will be probably negated and destroyed by Adipus, and if it's not, you have 2 banished destructions with access code, plus he's at 53. So really powerful access code going for game part, because I think this deck does have a little bit of struggles going for game, so I do like that. That's it for the links. For the Exceed monsters, we're on double Rafflesia. I really like Rafflesia. It is probably the most important card in the deck. I would kind of want to run it at 3, but it's a little too tight in the extra deck. But Rafflesia is great. It says send a hole from your deck, detach material, send a hole from the deck, and activate it whenever a hole would be activated. So that's awesome. You can activate any of your holes straight from the deck, and it triggers Sarah to set, which is really nice. Your inboard usually has at least 1 of these on it, if not 2, because it's not a hard once per turn. So that's really nice. This card is super important in the deck. It also protects your Sarah, your opponent, while it's on the field, and it has material. Traptrix you control can't be destroyed by battle or card effects or targeted, except for Rafflesia. So that's really nice. Sadly, it doesn't make a lock, though. Pinguicula is the next one. I really like Pinguicula. She lets you detach a material to search, and during your opponent's turn, or actually anytime a monster owned by your opponent is sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, you can attach one of them to this card's material. So this card is super important in the branded matchup, because whenever they send Fallen of Albaz off of Branded Fusion, you just attach it to Pinguicula, and it kind of shuts them down, so that's really nice. And then finally, we're on an Allomeris. I never make this card, but in the 2 scenarios, like the 2 kind of corner case scenarios I've made it, this card has been super important. It is an extender whenever you have to, and since you don't have as many Rafflesias, this card's a great card to make. It lets you special from graveyard, so you can special your Pudica to banish your opponent's stuff, which is really nice. For the generic 4s, we're on a Time Thief or Doer. You can make it with a trap, so it's crazy, non-targetable removal. We're on a Baguska. You can make it with Parallel Exceed, and it's just a great stall card for until you draw stuff, because this deck does brick occasionally. We're on a Gaga Cowboy for time. I know a lot of people have lost because they weren't running Cowboy, and so I run Cowboy just in case we go to time, because this deck does do a lot of interaction, so it does play until time a lot of the time. And then Zeus. We're only on 1 because we don't respect Kashtira around here. Also, he's expensive, but it is a crazy card. It's a really important board breaker against Kashtira specifically. So yeah, this card's great. I will say, if I had it, I would be running Exciton Knight, just because this deck's propensity to make rank 4s is really high. So being able to wipe the board with that is really nice. It's just a little too expensive for me and a little too hard to find. So I'm not really willing to spend the money on it. If I was, though, I would probably cut either Allomeris or Kularia for it. Probably Kularia. I don't make it very often, so that's probably what I would do. So that's it for the extra deck, and we'll get into the side deck. I will be honest, the side deck is still a work in progress. There's a lot of cards that could go in here that aren't in here. Currently, I'm just looking for things that are good going second. So specifically, that's Nibiru. In the current format, this just stops a lot of decks from playing Kashtira. If they don't play around it, Nibiru is insane. So this card's great. However, a lot of times in the Kashtira format, they will play around Nibiru, and you need a way to out that 5-mana Arise Heart. So for that reason, if your opponent is playing that way, game 2 you side in Kaijus. We are running 2 Kumungus and 1 Godarla. In this format, there's a lot of decks that just need something that you can just quick spot remove, and Kaiju is great for that. So we're running 3 of those. We're running 2 Dark Ruler. I still think it's a pretty good card. We are running enough Kashtira hate already, so Dark Ruler is pretty good. I think it's pretty good in the branded matchup and the Sprite matchup to an extent, so pretty good card. We're also running 4 back row hate, 1 Harpies, 3 Cosmic. Cosmic is mainly for Runic, but also most of the cards that protect their back row can't protect against Cosmic Cyclones, so that's really nice. And Harpies is just too good not to run in a back row format. And then, finally, Triple D Barrier. Against most decks in the format, it's an auto win. You have to play it. It sucks, but you have to. So, alright, so getting into just the most basic combo that this deck has, and pretty much the one that you need to know if you were to learn any combo, it is Myrmelio plus any hole. So for that, we'll just represent Myrmelio and any of this. So it's a 1.5 card combo. Most of the combos in this deck are more than a 1 card combo, but you run so consistently that this is fine. If you want to see more combos in the future, I can go ahead and do that, but for now, we're just going to show this combo. So to start, you're just going to go ahead and normal summon your Myrmelio. Myrmelio's effect is going to search you your Holotea. You will then proceed, so in hand you have Holotea and Trapple Nightmare. You'll proceed to link off Myrmelio into a Serra, and we'll just use this as a field center. So you link off into your Serra, you then set your Holotea. Holotea effect activates, you'll pitch the other hole in hand to special Holotea, so that it'll trigger Serra whenever your hole resolves. So Serra will special summon a Dionea from the deck, and then Dionea's effect will set your Trap Hole Nightmare back. That'll trigger Serra, and Serra will search you any hole that you would like. Or sorry, not search, set any hole that you would like. So pick one that is most applicable to the matchup. Now you've used up your Serra, and you are on your 4th summon, so now we will go for our 5th summon, a Rafflesia. Alright, so with that we end on an interruption in Rafflesia, a Serra that is refreshed on their turn, and 2 hole traps to interrupt them with. It is a very basic combo, and the 3 cards in your hand are almost always extenders that you can follow this combo up with. I find myself usually ending on at least double Rafflesia. So yeah, that is it for the combos for this deck. Let me know if you guys would like to see more content with this deck, or if you guys want to see some more hero stuff. I was thinking about doing an online deck profile for heroes. So if you guys would like to see that, I can definitely do that. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one, and peace out.